What if I told you that one of the most widely trusted health habits might actually work against you after the age of 60? For decades, we have all been taught the same simple advice. Drink more water, stay hydrated, keep a bottle with you, and take small sips throughout the day. It sounds like a universal truth, something as certain and unquestioned as gravity itself. Doctors, family members, and health campaigns repeat this message so often that most people never stop to question it. After all, hydration is essential for life. Our bodies are made mostly of water, and we naturally assume that more of it must always be better. But the reality of human biology is rarely that straightforward. As the body ages, many of the internal systems that once worked effortlessly begin to change in subtle yet meaningful ways. These changes do not happen overnight. Instead, they develop slowly over decades, quietly reshaping how the body manages fluids, nutrients, and circulation. The systems responsible for transporting oxygen, delivering nutrients, and carrying important chemical signals throughout the body rely heavily on the health of our blood vessels. Inside those vessels are delicate layers of endothelial cells that regulate blood flow, control inflammation, and maintain the balance of our circulatory system. With aging, these cells gradually lose some of their flexibility and efficiency. At the same time, the tiny networks of vessels responsible for microcirculation, the smallest pathways that feed our tissues and organs, also begin to slow down. Imagine a river that once flowed freely through a wide open channel. Over time, small obstacles begin to appear. The banks narrow slightly, sediments build up, and the current becomes less powerful. The water is still moving, but it no longer travels with the same speed or efficiency. This is very similar to what happens inside the aging circulatory system. Blood still flows, oxygen is still delivered, and nutrients still reach their destinations, but the entire process becomes a little less responsive, a little less adaptable than it once was. Because of these gradual changes, the way our bodies handle water after the age of 60 can be very different from what it was during youth or middle age. Hydration remains extremely important, but the assumption that simply drinking more water automatically improves health does not always hold true. In fact, in some situations, excessive or poorly timed water intake can place additional strain on systems that are already adjusting to age-related changes. The kidneys, the hormonal signals that regulate thirst, and the delicate balance of electrolytes all begin to operate under slightly different conditions. This does not mean hydration becomes less important as we grow older. Quite the opposite. It becomes even more critical, but it also becomes more nuanced. The body's signals change. Thirst mechanisms may become less sensitive, meaning older adults often feel thirsty later than they should. At the same time, fluid regulation systems. And here's the paradox. Plain water, while essential, does not always optimize hydration at the cellular level, especially in aging bodies. In fact, emerging research in vascular biology and cellular hydration suggests that what we drink matters just as much as how much we drink. Hydration is not just about fluid intake. It's about fluid delivery, absorption, and utilization within the body's microscopic networks. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt thirsty, even after drinking plenty of water? Or noticed fatigue, brain fog, or cold hands and feet signs that circulation may not be as efficient as it once was? This is not just about aging. This is about how we adapt to aging, because there is a simple, almost overlooked shift, a single adjustment that can dramatically improve how your body uses water. Not by adding complexity, but by aligning with biology itself. And that shift has everything to do with something called osmotic balance. The way fluids move across your cells, guided by minerals, electrolytes, and molecular gradients. Think of your bloodstream not as a pipe, but as an intelligent highway system. Water alone is like sending empty vehicles onto that highway. But when combined with the right elements, those vehicles carry passengers, nutrients, signals, life itself. Hey everyone, and welcome back. If you are passionate about natural health and evidence-based wellness, You found your tribe. For those just joining our health journey, welcome. We are thrilled to have you here as we explore the fascinating intersection of ancient wisdom and modern science. Do not forget to hit that like button if this content resonates with you, and subscribe so you never miss our deep dives into natural health solutions. We would love to know where our amazing community spans. Drop your city or country in the comments below. Now, let us explore why drinking plain water alone may no longer be enough after 60, and the one simple science-backed trick that can help restore blood flow, energy, and vitality faster than you might expect. Let's begin with something deceptively simple, yet biologically profound. Water does not hydrate you. Your body hydrates you. And that distinction changes everything inside your body. Hydration is governed by a principle known as osmosis, the movement of water across cell membranes driven not by force, but by balance. Specifically, the balance between water and electrolytes minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Think of your cells as tiny reservoirs surrounded by selectively permeable walls. These walls are intelligent. They don't just open because water is present. They respond to gradients, differences in concentration that signal when to let water in and when to keep it out. Now here's where it becomes especially important after the age of 60. As we age, several subtle shifts occur. The sensitivity of these cellular membranes declines. Kidney function becomes less efficient at conserving electrolytes. Hormonal signals that regulate fluid balance, like vasopressin, become less responsive. The result, you can drink glass after glass of plain water and still remain functionally dehydrated at the cellular level. This phenomenon has been observed in hydration studies referenced by organizations like the National Institutes of Health, where older adults often show signs of low intracellular hydration despite adequate fluid intake. So let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that drinking a lot of water sometimes makes you urinate more without actually feeling more energized or refreshed? That's not your imagination. That's your body telling you the system is out of balance. Because without electrolytes, water behaves more like a transient guest than a resident. It moves through your bloodstream quickly, gets filtered by the kidneys, and exits without fully entering the cells where hydration truly matters. Now here's the shift. The one trick that changes the equation. Add a small, balanced amount of electrolytes to your water. Not in excess, not in the form of sugary sports drinks, but in a clean, controlled way. A pinch of mineral-rich salt or a natural electrolyte blend. Why does this work? Because sodium, often misunderstood, plays a critical role in fluid balance. It helps create the osmotic gradient that pulls water into your cells and keeps it there. Potassium works alongside it, ensuring that this balance is maintained across cellular compartments. Together they act like a key, unlocking the door that allows water to actually hydrate you. There's a reason this mechanism is used in life-saving medical protocols. Oral rehydration therapy, one of the most effective public health interventions ever developed, relies on this exact principle. A precise combination of water, sodium, and a small amount of glucose to dramatically increase fluid absorption in the intestines. It's not more water that saves lives. It's better absorbed water. Now, I want you to think about your own daily routine. What if the first glass of water you drink in the morning wasn't just hydration, but activation? What if instead of flushing through your system, that water actually entered your cells, expanded your blood volume, improved circulation, and delivered oxygen more efficiently to your brain and muscles? This is not theoretical, it's physiological, and it's accessible. A simple protocol you can begin with. Take a glass of water in the morning, add a small pinch of high-quality mineral salt, optionally include a squeeze of lemon for potassium and trace compounds. Sip it slowly, allowing your body to absorb, not just process. This is not about complexity, it's about alignment. Because when you give your body what it needs to use water, not just receive it, something remarkable begins to happen. Energy stabilizes, circulation improves, that subtle sense of fatigue begins to lift, and perhaps most importantly, you begin to feel a quiet return of something many people think fades with age: vitality. Not as a burst, but as a steady, reliable current flowing through a system that is once again working with you, not against you. Now that we understand how water enters the body, let's explore something even more powerful. What happens after it gets there? Because hydration is not the final goal, circulation is. And at the center of this process lies one of the most remarkable and often overlooked systems in the human body: your endothelium. This is a thin, almost invisible layer of cells lining every blood vessel you have, from the largest arteries to the tiniest capillaries. If we could stretch it out, it would cover an area nearly the size of several tennis courts. But more important than its size is its intelligence. The endothelium is not passive. It is responsive, adaptive, and deeply sensitive to the signals you send it, including how you hydrate. Think of nitric oxide as a kind of biological green light. When it's released, your blood vessels relax and widen, a process known as vasodilation. This allows blood to flow more freely, delivering oxygen and nutrients with greater efficiency. But when nitric oxide production is impaired, which often happens with age, blood vessels become more rigid, more constricted, and circulation begins to slow. Now, here's where hydration becomes transformational. When you drink water with the right balance of electrolytes, something subtle but powerful occurs. Blood volume increases more effectively, the shear stress along your vessel walls improves, and this mechanical signal stimulates the endothelium to release more nitric oxide. In simple terms, better hydration, healthier vessels, faster blood flow. And this can happen quickly. In fact, studies in vascular function have shown that changes in endothelial responsiveness can occur within minutes to hours, not days or weeks. So let me ask you, have you ever felt that sudden clarity after drinking something refreshing? Not just water, but something that seems to wake up your system. That's not just hydration. That's circulation improving in real time. Now imagine this effect becoming part of your daily rhythm. A simple enhancement to your hydration. That same glass of water with electrolytes becomes a signal to your vascular system. Open, flow, deliver. And there's another layer to this. Certain natural compounds can amplify this effect even further. Foods rich in nitrates like leafy greens and beets, polyphenols found in berries and green tea, even mild acidity like lemon, which can support mineral absorption. Together they create an environment where your blood vessels are not just functional, but responsive. Here's a practical way to apply this immediately. Start your day with your electrolyte-enhanced water. Pair it when possible with a nutrient that supports nitric oxide, even something as simple as a small serving of greens or a few slices of beet. Move your body gently a short walk, light stretching to further stimulate circulation, because movement and hydration are partners in the same symphony. One primes the vessels, the other fills them. And when they work together, something shifts. You don't just feel hydrated. You feel awake, warm, present. Your hands are warmer. Your mind is clear. Your energy feels less like spikes and more like a steady current. Now, if this insight is opening a new way of thinking about your health, not just what you consume, but how your body responds, consider subscribing and staying connected with us. Because what we're building here is more than information. It's a new model for living well longer. And as we continue, we'll go even deeper. Because the next layer of this story is not just about how water moves into your cells, but why over time your cells begin to resist it and how to gently reverse that process. There's a quiet shift that happens in the body over time. Not dramatic, not immediate, but deeply consequential. It's the moment when your cells begin to lose their openness to water. Not completely, not irreversibly, but enough to change how you feel day after day. We call this the aging osmosis shift. And to understand it, I want you to imagine your cells not as static containers, but as living membranes, dynamic, responsive, constantly negotiating what comes in and what stays out. In youth, these membranes are fluid, flexible, highly communicative. Water flows in with ease, guided by well-maintained electrolyte gradients and efficient signaling systems. But with age, several things begin to change. The lipid layers of the cell membrane become more rigid. Oxidative stress alters membrane proteins and channels. Mitochondrial efficiency declines, reducing the energy available for active transport. And perhaps most subtly, the body's thirst signaling system becomes less reliable. Research supported by institutions like the National Institutes of Health has shown that older adults often experience a diminished sense of thirst, even when their bodies are in need of hydration. So the signal weakens and the response follows. But here's the deeper issue. Even when water is consumed, the cellular environment may no longer be optimized to receive it. It's like trying to water a garden where the soil has slowly compacted over time. You can pour more water onto the surface, but unless the soil structure is restored, much of that water will simply run off. So the question becomes, how do we make the soil of our cells more receptive again? The answer lies in restoring the conditions that allow water to move with purpose, not just presence. And this is where your daily hydration ritual becomes more than a habit. It becomes a form of cellular communication. Let's break this into a simple, actionable framework. 1. Rebuild the gradient. As we discussed earlier, electrolytes are essential. They create the osmotic pull that draws water into your cells. Without this gradient, water lacks direction. A small, consistent intake of balanced minerals, not excessive but intentional, helps reestablish this flow. 2. Support membrane fluidity. Your cell membranes are made largely of fats, specifically phospholipids. Their flexibility determines how easily water and nutrients can pass through. Healthy fats, such as omega-3 fatty acids found in foods like flax seeds, walnuts, and fatty fish, help maintain this fluidity. Think of it as keeping the gates of your cells well-oiled, able to open and close with ease. 3. Reduce oxidative interference. Oxidative stress acts like rust on the system. It damages the very structures responsible for transport and communication. Antioxidant-rich foods, berries, dark leafy greens, green tea help protect and restore these pathways. 4. Hydrate with timing, not just volume, instead of drinking large amounts of water all at once. Space your intake throughout the day, especially during times when your body is most receptive, upon waking, before meals, after light movement. This aligns hydration with your body's natural rhythms, improving absorption and utilization. Now, let me ask you something to reflect on. Have you ever noticed that your energy dips not just when you're tired, but when you're subtly dehydrated, that mid-afternoon fog, that sense of heaviness in your limbs, that lack of mental sharpness that no amount of caffeine quite fixes? What if that's not just fatigue? What if it's your cells quietly asking for a different kind of support? Because when hydration begins to reach the cellular level again, when water is not just consumed, but received, something remarkable happens. The brain becomes clearer, muscles feel more responsive, even your mood begins to stabilize. This is not about reversing age, it's about restoring function within age. And that distinction matters because it means we are not fighting biology. We are learning to work with it more intelligently. In the next part, we'll expand this idea even further, exploring how improved hydration doesn't just affect your cells in isolation, but transforms your entire circulatory system into a more efficient, more resilient network. A system where blood flow becomes not just adequate, but optimized. Let's widen the lens. Up to this point, we've been looking closely at cells, membranes, molecular gradients. But now I want you to step back and see the body as an integrated system, because hydration is not an isolated event. It is part of a circulatory symphony, and at the center of that symphony is one essential truth. Blood flow is the language your body uses to sustain life. Every thought you have, every step you take, every repair your body performs depends on circulation. Not just the presence of blood, but the quality and efficiency of its movement. Now imagine your circulatory system as a vast network of highways. When you're young, those highways are wide, flexible, and unobstructed. Traffic flows smoothly. Deliveries arrive on time. Waste is removed efficiently. But over time, subtle changes begin to occur. Blood vessels lose elasticity. Blood viscosity may increase microcirculation. The flow through the smallest vessels becomes less efficient. And here's the critical part. Hydration directly influences every one of these variables. When you are optimally hydrated, not just with water, but with properly absorbed fluids, your blood becomes more fluid in the truest sense of the word. Plasma volume increases, viscosity decreases, flow improves. It's the difference between a slow-moving stream and a vibrant flowing river. Research in cardiovascular physiology has consistently shown that even mild dehydration can reduce blood volume and impair circulation. And studies supported by institutions like the American Heart Association emphasize that proper hydration plays a key role in maintaining vascular health and efficient blood flow. But here's where it becomes especially powerful. When you combine electrolyte-enhanced hydration with even gentle movement, something as simple as walking, you create a compounding effect. Movement acts like a pump. Hydration provides the volume. Together they amplify circulation. Let me ask you, have you ever gone for a short walk after drinking something refreshing and felt your entire body come alive? Your hands warm up, your posture lifts, your mind clears. That's not coincidence. That's physiology in motion, because improved blood flow means more oxygen reaching your brain, more nutrients delivered to your muscles, more efficient removal of metabolic waste, and perhaps most importantly, a more responsive, resilient system overall. Now let's turn this into a simple, actionable ritual, something you can begin today. The flow activation sequence. Begin with your morning electrolyte-enhanced water. Within 10-15 minutes, engage in light movement. A walk, gentle stretching, or even standing mobility exercises. Breathe deeply and rhythmically as you move, supporting oxygen exchange. Continue hydrating in small, steady intervals rather than large, infrequent amounts. This is not a workout. It's a signal to your body that says circulate, deliver, renew. And over time, this signal becomes a pattern. Your vessels respond more quickly, your energy becomes more stable, your body begins to anticipate and adapt. Now, if this is shifting how you think about something as simple as water, if you're beginning to see hydration as a strategic tool rather than a passive habit, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, because these small insights, when applied consistently, have the power to reshape how we experience aging itself. And we're just getting started, because in the next part, we'll uncover one of the most fascinating biological shortcuts ever discovered. A mechanism that can accelerate hydration in a way that feels almost counterintuitive, yet has been used to save millions of lives around the world. The passive pathways slow down, but this active transport system remains remarkably effective. In hospitals, carefully balanced mixtures of water, salts, and glucose are often used to help the body absorb fluids more efficiently. What we are talking about here is essentially a simplified, everyday version of that same physiological concept, adapted for normal daily use rather than medical treatment. When these elements are combined in small, balanced amounts, they work together with the body rather than forcing the body to process plain water on its own. The salt provides essential minerals that help regulate fluid balance, while the natural glucose supports the cellular transport mechanisms that move water from the digestive system into the bloodstream. Instead of simply passing through the body quickly, the fluid becomes easier for the body to absorb and distribute where it is needed most. Now, something interesting happens when you drink this mixture slowly rather than gulping it down all at once. In simple terms, the body does not just receive the water, it actually absorbs and retains it more efficiently. The result can be surprisingly noticeable. Hydration occurs more completely, meaning the water is less likely to pass quickly through the kidneys and be lost. Blood volume can increase more effectively, which supports better circulation throughout the body. This improved circulation helps oxygen and nutrients move through the bloodstream with greater ease. For some people, the effects can begin quite quickly. Instead of waiting hours to feel the benefits of hydration, subtle improvements in energy and circulation can sometimes be felt within minutes. The human body evolved to absorb fluids that naturally contain a mixture of water, minerals, and small amounts of natural sugars. In nature, water rarely exists in complete isolation. Spring water contains minerals. Fruits contain both water and natural glucose. Even many traditional beverages around the world combine hydration with small amounts of salts or natural sugars. These combinations subtly support the body's fluid transport systems. So the next time you reach for a drink, it may be worth considering that hydration is not always just about the volume of water you consume. Sometimes it is about creating the right balance that allows your body to use that water more effectively. And occasionally, something as simple as a pinch of mineral salt and a hint of natural sweetness can make a surprisingly meaningful difference in how your body responds to the fluid you drink. And if this message resonates with you, if you believe that health is not just about living longer, but living better, then join us. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share your thoughts, your experiences, your questions in the comments below. Because this is more than content. It's a movement toward a new understanding of human potential. One where science empowers us not just to survive, but to truly thrive at every stage of life.